Welcome back to my podcast, Patricia Monna, Intuitive Consulting. Today I have the lovely Susan Reynolds back with me. Thank you so much for joining me, Susan. I so appreciate your
Hey,
wisdom.
everyone.
And
Love being here.
Susan and I were just talking a little bit before I clicked on about time and what we're picking up for the month ahead because Susan, we said that September was going to be chaos and it was,
Yeah,
right?
it was for sure.
It was. And the thing is, I want to point this out for people that don't know us, maybe who've come across the channel for the first time. So I do professional remote viewing. I use it as a tool to find missing persons, to look into the past, present, or future, because when you're going into that quantum field with remote viewing, you can really see everything and anything that you want to project your consciousness to. But when I'm working with remote viewing, and I know a lot of the remote viewers can vouch for what I'm saying, there really is no such thing as time on the other side. I see it almost as a series of images, or almost like I'm watching your movie playing out on mute. And so the wonderful thing about me being a remote viewer and Susan doing astrology is Susan does get dates. She gets dates to what I'm seeing. And we come together each month and we just wing it. We wing it. I don't edit my videos. I just click upload. I don't know how to edit. So it's a conversation between the two of us on what we're picking up for the energies ahead. And I have to say, like I said, September was a chaotic month. The energy was very hot and spicy. And I said that I've been saying this since back in 2020 that 2025 was the year to watch out for. And personally, I don't necessarily think we've hit what I was predicting or what I was seeing yet. It hasn't necessarily happened yet. Even though 2025 has been this chaotic year, I always felt that it would be the lower end or the bottom half of the 2025 year, that we really need to be on our toes, spiritually in alignment with who we are, what we want to resonate with, what we want to be able to manifest, because the energy was shifting again. And now that we're here, we're in the time zone. We're taking it chunk by chunk, month by month, week by week, testing the energy of it. And I have to say, I feel that the month of October is going to be a lot more of a energy. Okay, I can breathe. I can breathe. I've got back into my rhythm. I can breathe, and it feels like okay. I'm having peace for a little bit. All is well. So I was saying that right before I clicked on, and I would love to know what you're picking up for the planetary alignments, because right now, and even as we're taping this right now, we're actually taping this on September 23rd, which I know a lot of Christians were sitting there saying that, oh my goodness, the rapture is going to happen between September 22nd to the 24th. No, I did not feed into that, because one thing that I do know is that it says clearly in the Bible that no one will know the time or the hour that is going to happen. So when a whole group of people are saying, okay, today's the date, it makes me question the narrative. It doesn't make me feed into it. But there is so much that's happening in the heavens, astrologically and on earth. It's being reflected down here. And so with you with astrology, Susan, I'm dying to hear what you got to say about all of the mess that has happened. Like even the assassination of Charlie Kirk, like astrologically, I was listening to a podcast where it explains his astrology and with the moons that was in his house and all this stuff, and I don't understand any of it. That's your language. That's not my language. I don't understand any of it. But it was crazy how it all lined up, even with the astrology of Utah and them having an earthquake right after he passed away. So it's weird how things are lining up. And then we've got the 2,000-year-old biblical prophecies that the Jews are ushering in and trying to fulfill right now, where they're breaking ground with the next temple. And from what, I don't know, rumors are that temple is supposed to be where the Antichrist is speaking and sitting in. So it's like, what's going on here? Why are they trying to usher in the book of Revelations? Why? And then they got the 100 trumpets blowing. And it says in the end days that all of the trumpets will be heard around the world. Well, they are broadcasting that live on YouTube, on Instagram, on every platform that they can. So it's just like, why now? Just give us some rest. God, these last 5 years have just been a, like really, you really want to open up revelations now? Come on, people. So I'd love to hear astrologically. Does any of that line up? Like,
Well, I've said all we're missing lately is a herd of locusts because we have.
oh, Susan.
I'm looking for the herd of locusts because we have been through some things this year. And September, oh my word, we did warn you in August what September was going to be like, but no matter how much you're giving a heads up or, it still took everybody by surprise. Like it's just been a wild, wild month. And since this is the 23rd, we just had the solar eclipse on the 21st, and that new moon energy lasts for about 3 days. So I find it interesting they're talking about the rapture for the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, because it's just in that little aftermath window of the eclipse. But don't
Well,
worry, nobody's going anywhere. This is not the rapture time. Now, I'm going to say I have not looked. I have been super, super busy this September. It has just been a crazy, crazy month, which Patricia and I were just talking about. And so I have not really been paying a lot of astrological attention. I've sort of been shortcutting it and tuning in intuitively. Like, what do I feel about this?
yeah.
And it's interesting to me because last week I was reading for a client, lovely woman, had a great reading. And at the end, we're just sort of chit chatting. And she said, well, Susan, I've been watching some of these different channels, and do you think Charlie Kirk is really dead? And I'm like, what? And she said, because they're thinking he may be hiding out in some bunker in Idaho to wait his time to come back to lead a new movement. And I said, Charlie Kirk is dead.
Mhm.
I said, JFK is dead. JFK Jr. is dead. Princess Diana is dead. Elvis is dead. I do not know where these conspiracy theories come from, but they pop up out of nowhere almost immediately. And I do think Charlie Kirk is really dead. I do think that Tyler, I forget his last name, is the person that pulled the trigger. Yeah. There were some other things going on behind the scenes, but he is the one that pulled the trigger. What I feel when I pick up Charlie Kirk's energy is a little, I don't know what you pick up, Patricia, but when I pick up is a little bit schizophrenic because I pick up a public image that was about hating Jews and gay people and Black people and Hispanic people, and women are only supposed to get pregnant and give birth, and some very, very extreme things.
Yeah, but
But when I
he
pick up his personal energy, it's very different. Do you pick up the same thing?
no, no, because actually there are no videos of him saying anything about genocide or talking bad about Jewish people or Black people. He believed that racism was an issue. And even when he talked about gun violence and everything, he wasn't saying, "Oh, this is a problem because of Black people." He was saying, statistically speaking, who are the ones committing the crime, right? So I believe that he was a man that was on fire for God, that had a burning desire to preach salvation to as many people as he could. And I did follow him. I followed his podcasts and stuff before. So he was a little bit extreme, but he was extreme to get people talking. And that was the thing. That was his whole thing. Prove me wrong. And the guy was actually a genius. Like, he taught himself. He never went to university or college. And I think that that is absolutely brilliant that he was able, like, if you talk or if you listen to his podcasts and stuff, he's very articulate. He's very, very brilliant and on the spot brilliant. So I definitely think that he had a gift within him to be able to talk about things and get the ball rolling. And it's really sad that, you know, someone was assassinated for their viewpoint, that to me. And then you know, all the comments online and everything that were derogatory towards him or his family is like, oh my God, where's the heart of humanity? Someone lost their husband, someone lost the father of their children, right? So and then it became a movement. It totally, here's the interesting thing, and it doesn't matter like if you're Democrat or if you're Republican or anything like that, there's an energy behind him. There's an energy of the Turning Point organization. There's an energy there that has gained massive, massive momentum. It's almost like it woke people up. And this is the really neat thing. So I was on a live last night. I did a live prayers and meditation for humanity last night on YouTube. And a bunch of people were saying on the live, I want to go back to church. I want to go back to church. I want to understand this reality now. Now this has my attention. I need to figure out what this place is all about. And, you know, historically, church has been the university of the soul in order to give us the directions back home, right? But I personally think that the directions back home are ingrained into each and every one of us. And church is just the institution that can show you the directions or give you some tools in order to utilize while you're here so that you have that connection and that you have those directions back home. And I think that Charlie Kirk, he wanted to open that up for the youth, to remind them that there is so much more to this place than just what you're seeing, and to not feed into the narrative of everything that we're being told. And I think that that's really important, because I think that there's a lot about his assassination that we don't know. Yes, I agree with you. I unfortunately believe that he has passed, but he wasn't an extremist, Susan. I followed him for years, and it's just, he got people talking, and it wasn't that he was, and it's interesting though, how these videos will take snippets of what he said and take it out of context without watching the whole thing. So watch some of his podcasts, listen to what he has to say, and then you'll see what I saw when I was following him. Like, I knew exactly who he was and I'm up in Canada, and I knew who he was when he passed away. And I knew that he was an up and coming riser that had a lot of enemies. Why he wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest is beyond me.
I heard that he was.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Again, it's so much stuff is out there, you don't know what's real and what's not.
And it's interesting because I talked to us. So I've done a lot of work with our CMP and CPS on missing person cases. And so I called up one of the sniper shooters that I've done work with. And I asked him, I said, what did you think of the shot? Was this an impossible shot? And he goes, no, not for someone who's trained or who's done this before. He's like, a 22-year-old could have made the shot. He's like, but what really depends on what's a marksman or a professional is where he was aiming. Because if it's a professional, they aim up here, they aim for the head, the kill shot. But if it's a marksman or someone who's more of an amateur, they'll aim for the chest. But what's interesting is that he was hit in the neck. So it's like, I wanted to ask a professional that, you know, because it's, you know, but here's the thing. I also know that everything, Susan, happens for a reason. Why is it that a person can try to leave this world 10 times and there's always someone there to save them? And then one person tries it once and they're out of here. Why? Because some people only have a few pages in their book. Some people have volumes, right? Especially if the longer that you live, the more pages you're going to have. But it's what we do here. It's the imprint that we leave. And Charlie left a massive wave of goodness, of love. You should have seen the outpour in Calgary. Oh my God, downtown was flooded for his memorial. It brought people together. One person with their nasty decision, the positive that has come out of that boy's nasty decision, was bringing the Christian community back like a wave bigger than ever. And I saw a hashtag going around, "We are all Charlie Kirk," and it's true. You know I'm outspoken. You know I am, Susan. I will always respect another person's voice and what they have to say, even if I completely disagree. I will always respect it, but I'm outspoken. So what am I going to say that could put me in danger? You know what I mean? This censorship, that's what I have a problem with, that he couldn't share his ideologies in a world that, or in a nation that preaches free speech. No, we don't have that, and we're slowly losing it. And that, to me, that's scary. You look at what this absolutely, how it changed timelines. Those kids will forever be without their father. There's a day now named after him. You know, he left an imprint. He left a fast imprint on this earth with his life. So I don't know. When I look at it from up here, I see what his soul was brought here to bring, to blast and get out. And I know that he left a big, huge movement behind. And it was so cool to see those comments on my live last night. I'm going back to church. And it was like, do it. We need God. Find it. Find it. I don't care if it's in a synagogue, a mosque, on your knees in the forest. There is something greater than us, that when we merge and learn how to communicate with that stream of divine information, it changes you. You are forever changed. You can't look at this reality the same way when you can see through it, right? It's an illusion. This body is just the costume I wear every day to get the job done, you know, but people can't see, a lot of people can't see past their own noses because they're so stuck in this reality. So I see the imprint he left, and I pray for his family. I really do. And I pray for answers that, you know, we probably will never ever get. But I definitely think that there is more to this story. And yeah, but a lot of people got canceled for what they said, got fired. Did you hear about that? Did you see those videos?
I heard about Jimmy Kimmel being suspended. And
No,
the
but
huge
no,
outcry, because he didn't say anything bad. I listened to this. He wasn't bad-mouthing anybody. So that was an
no,
extreme
I'm
reaction.
talking,
But now he's back tonight,
I'm
if I
talking about
understand correctly.
like regular people that were posting nasty, nasty stuff. Some guy set up a website where you can submit it, and what they'll do is they'll take that video of what you said and they'll send it to your employer. And a pile of people got fired for what they said, including politicians and everything. So it's changing timelines. It's changing timelines. People
I'm
need.
going to say I never heard of Charlie Kirk. Before his
So
life
then
was
don't believe the negative
never heard of
rhetoric.
him, didn't know anything about him.
I do.
I will say I thought his life being taken that way and his children seeing that, I just immediately started to pray for him and his family. Because I don't care if you're on the left or the right. That is a horrific action that nobody deserves.
100%.
And the only way that I can deal with that, or feel like I have, you know, it's just beyond me, it's beyond all of us, what do we do? For me, is to lift my voice up in prayer. So I have been doing that. I have been upset in the United States. I don't know what it's like in Canada, that when Melissa Hartman and her husband were murdered in their bed for being the sin of being Democrats by a far right extremist, I did the same thing. I started to pray for them, because nobody deserves to lose their life. They deserve to be able to be safe and in their bed.
Yeah.
And in our country, we are so divided in the United States that just saying you disagree with somebody, you are suddenly their enemy. And I don't know how to change this. I have been praying all the time for our country to come together, to learn how to forgive one another, to realize that people who believe differently are not your enemy. But this is going to take time. This is going to take a lot of time. And I'm glad to see people coming together in Canada, because it has divided the United States more than ever. Not only was it a horrific action by itself and a horrific action of those who took the lives of other Democratic legislators and the crazy person who tried to burn down the governor's mansion because it was a Democratic governor. He tried to burn the governor and his family to death for the sin of being a Democrat. So in our country, we're seeing more and more acts of violence against people who believe differently. And so it is more and more important that when, and I'm not even going to say if, I'm going to say when something like this happens, instead of going into the hate, instead of going into the anger, instead of going into the judgment or the finger pointing, that we go in to prayer. I know it seems like it seems useless. It seems like, oh, thoughts and prayers are with you. I know. I hear this all the time. I get it. But it is not nothing. It means that we, as two nations, are lifting our voice up to bring in a higher consciousness and to bring that in. And that is something that we, every single one of us, regardless of where you are politically, and I'm a little sick of all this political judgment. If you are a conservative, you are not my enemy. If you're a liberal, you are not my enemy. And yeah, in the United States, we are dealing with this in very, very in your face kind of ways that is very destructive and is going to take us a long time to heal the wounds from this time. They will heal. Make no mistake, they will heal. But it is going to take time. And we, all of us in Canada and the United States, are going to have to be patient that this is an energy that all of us have to move through. And we will come out the other side. But 25 and 26, very challenging, and we've said this, Patricia and I said this in January. We did our predictions talk and we were like, heads up, folks, like I don't know that anybody could warn you, but we definitely talked about this because we knew, crazy times. After 26, we are going to see a new energy come in. We're going to see a new shift. We are going to see a new change, both for Canada and the United States, where the rhetoric tones down a little bit. I don't know that it goes from 100 to 0, but it may go 100 to 50. We are going to see some of the hate turn down, some of the finger pointing and the judgment turn down. We're going to start to see a little bit, like people out here, we may start to see them come a little bit more to center. But this is a movement. This is an ideology. How do you change that? That takes time. I don't know that we are ever going to have a time when everybody in the United States agrees. That certainly never happened before. Doubt that's around the corner. And I'm assuming in Canada it's the same way. But we can have more people that stop talking about their hate. Stop wearing it proudly. Maybe just take a moment before they say something nasty about their brother-in-law, their sister-in-law who believes differently than they do. I think there are going to be, okay, I was just getting ready to say something and I saw something. I do not know this is true. This is probably wrong. I'm going to say this is probably wrong. It's like something that just flew across my field of vision as I was talking.
Okay.
What I was starting to say was I do believe in the United States, I hope or not, we are going to see additional acts of violence. Sadly, our country acts out violently. As I was getting ready to say that, I saw something in Canada.
Oh, brutal.
Canadians may start to see some sort of violent action or some sort of much more, the thing is how nice Canadians are and how kind they are, which is a lovely, lovely reputation to have. But it felt like there may be something that's agitating or violent, or there may be an act of violence that shocks Canada as well.
It's interesting you say that because I actually was picking up that I think that there's going to be another attempt. I got to be careful with the words I use. But there will be another attempt in around the end of October, November, somewhere in there. Like I said, dates are kind of tough when it comes to remote viewing, but it does feel like someone of prominence again, where we're going to be like, are you kidding
So
me?
you're getting the same thing.
Yeah, it
Weird.
will be. Yeah. And it's the consciousness. So what came to me, and I didn't want to interrupt, I'm really bad with jumping in. But what came to me when you were saying about the power of prayer, even if it doesn't change you, even if it doesn't change your world immediately around you, it changes you. It changes something within you because prayer brings in that peace. And when you have that within you, that's what you're bringing to the table. That's what you're showing up with every day, right? And for other people who don't know how to find their peace, they'll start to look up to your peace and go, hey, you have something that I need or I want, or help me to obtain it, right? And so it is very, very important to start your day in that state of peace and make the intention that this is who I am, this is what I want to exude, and this is what my imprint is going to be all day, every day, right? So, because that's we really are here to make a difference and to be remembered for the difference that we bring.
I remember reading this article about this older gentleman that was in Auschwitz, I think. He was in a German concentration camp, and his entire family was wiped out in the Holocaust.
Mhm.
And yet, he was full of love for other people, for Germans. You know,
Viktor
people say, how
Frankl.
can you do that?
Yeah, that was probably Viktor Frankl, A Man's Search for Meaning. Best book.
And he said, I refuse to allow them to fill my heart with hate. I refuse to lose that within me.
Mhm.
If I lose that, I'm like they are. And he held on to love in the face of unspeakable
Yeah,
suffering. And so, if he can do it, we can do it. We can hold on to love, even if we don't understand our brother in law and sister in law. Like, we don't understand those liberal woke crazies, or we don't understand this far right conservative. You don't have to understand them to love them, to accept them, to let them know, even if I don't understand this, I still love you.
yeah,
I still hold you in my heart. I still pray for you. We're still family.
absolutely.
That may seem like a small thing, but that's a huge thing. If you refuse to allow yourself to be divided by your beliefs, because in the United States, it's the left and the right. But in other countries, it could be what? Protestant and Catholic and Muslim or Jewish, or, it doesn't matter what the dividing issue is.
Just want
It matters that we are allowing ourselves to be divided from without.
absolutely. Well, and it's interesting because I keep hearing the word there's order in chaos, and order will come out of this chaos. So I think that we are literally watching a play go down. Like that's what it feels like to me, that there's a bigger plan to this, that there's a lot more about all of this, what we've experienced this month that's come to the surface. There's a lot more in play that we don't know about. I
Yes,
really,
so
really, truly believe that. And I think that there's definitely more to come. It kind of feels like we're at the beginning. We're at the beginning of what I was talking about. So hopefully timelines have shifted, because that is something I would love, love, love to be wrong about. I just want peace on earth. I'm sure everyone is tired at this point. Um, so let's talk about the goodness, good things that are going to be happening in
it's funny because we were just talking about this before we started the podcast, that usually what I am picking up intuitively and what is happening astrologically, they match up, they come together. October, I'm a little confused about this because the craziness of these eclipses has triggered so much going on, and September has just been a whirlwind. In some ways, October feels calmer. We don't have the eclipses in our face, we're not being pushed by these things. And yet, I get this feeling like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I don't know if you're getting it like that. So I'm a little
That's exactly,
uncertain.
you literally described exactly how I've been feeling. Yeah, it does. It feels like there's calm from the chaos that we experienced. That it'll be a time to catch our breath, to, we're back in rhythm. Okay, we got this. But yet it does, like 2026 and moving into that energy, I just it changes again. That's the thing. It changes again. And yes, okay, the world changes all the time, right? But the
More than that.
energies that are coming in influence the people that are here, right? It
Mhm.
influences our consciousness. I mean, look at right now the amount of anxiety and craziness that's going on out there. And the division, like you said, that's a vibe. So when we have peace that gives us that moment to breathe, we can actually exude it and change it within our family, change it within our workspace, or wherever we can then, teach others how to embrace it. So I do think that there is peace coming this month. Um,
I will say we have Mars in Scorpio this month in October,
okay.
and that is very intense. Mars is a planet of
And
war. It's a planet of forcefulness. Sorry?
what's the dates for that?
In October. Hang on. I did not look up or write down the exact date, so let me check that for you. Exactly. Mars, you're going to love this. Mars goes into Scorpio today. The rapture day goes in today.
No way. Of course it does.
But just the very early degrees, it just like puts its big toe in there, and then it finally leaves specifically the 5th of November. So it's there through all of October. And Mars is a planet of war. It is forceful, it is assertive, it is aggressive, it is, I always liken it to De Niro. Are you talking to me? It's got its fists up and it's ready to go. And in Scorpio is about what we don't see. Scorpio is underneath everything. So it rules organized crime because that's behind the scenes. We don't see that. It rules prostitution and sex trafficking because, again, underneath, we don't see that publicly, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It rules money laundering and things that are secret, things that, it rules our secrets, things we maybe don't want to tell everybody or don't want to see on the evening news, because we all have things we would prefer to keep to ourselves. Now, this Mars is going to really struggle with Pluto. Pluto is in Aquarius, and these two are struggling with each other. And so you've got one intense, forceful energy struggling with the energy of newness and what is unexpected and more intensity. So for me, the first week of October and the last week of October are the strongest or the most going on kind of thing. And so when I see Mars and Pluto fighting each other, I'm like, because sometimes, not often, not always, this can lead to something violent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that can be a big fight with your spouse, but it can be something that happens out in our community or in the world, or it doesn't even have to be in our country. But these days, 24/7, we know everything that's going on, kind of thing. So there is a propensity towards deep, intense, and possibly violent experiences. When I see this going on in my client's chart, I just kind of caution them, like, you know what? Don't go into alleys at night. Use the buddy system. Don't go into sketchy neighborhoods. You take a few precautions. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mars can be our temper. And Scorpio, boom, that temper can come out in ways we didn't expect, even ways that horrify us. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that out loud. I can't believe I threw that in their face. That was a secret. So sometimes we can act in ways that we're ashamed of ourselves. We're horrified. I can't believe I said that out loud. Well, what would you know? You cheated on both your husbands. Like, you're not supposed to say that part out loud, So be careful about how you are going to express your temper. Be careful about how you want to express your forcefulness. Scorpio can be a little sneaky. It can be a little behind the scenes. Well, I know my best friend will be great for this job, but you know what? So would I. So I'm not going to tell them. And we get the job, but then we never feel good about it because we know we did something that's kind of against our own values. But this is also very strong and very positive for having us really focus on what we want to accomplish. So as always with astrology, there's the high side, there's the shadow side.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you are exhibiting nothing but the high side of this beautiful energy, somebody else may be exhibiting the not so high side towards you.
Energies will always meet you where you're at.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. So when you're out, if you're going to be around a lot of people, and I don't mean a political rally necessarily, if you're going to the grocery store, there's a lot of people there, or the doctor's office, or a concert, Surround yourself with light. Protect yourself.
Yeah.
Make sure you're encased in something. Sometimes if I know I'm going to be at like one of these expos or something, not only will I put a bubble of light around me, but I'll put mirrors all around that bubble of light, so that anything negative that's being directed towards me is just harmlessly reflected away. And so do whatever you need to do. Lots of times I will zip up. Like I will go down to my feet and I will pull a zipper up to the top. Like, boom, nothing's getting through this sucker. I am zipped up and protected. So you want to make sure you do that. Because Scorpio is about our secrets, about our buried wounds. But Mars won't allow for that. Mars pokes us, Mars pushes at us. So it's actually a good time to look at what are the things you don't want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe find a good therapist and start to bring up that gunk that is holding us back, those wounds that we couldn't look at before. Mars in Scorpio is very courageous. So this is where we have the courage to heal our own crap, even if we're the only ones that know about it. We know what's holding us back. We know those wounds, that pain. This is a time when we have the courage to go within and to say, I'm going to look, I'm going to heal. And years ago, when I was doing my own therapy, I said, the Purple Heart should be going to the people who are going to their therapist's office every week. That's who needs a Purple Heart,
Yeah, no doubt.
But this is the time when this Scorpio energy and the Mars and Pluto working together can say, I'm not letting this hold me back anymore. Mm-hmm. Because both Pluto and Mars and Scorpio have an underlying passionate sexual tone to it. We may see more coming up about sex trafficking in general and the Epstein files in particular.
Didn't they close those? Didn't they say they were closing those and not releasing it? I thought they closed it, which is...
Hang on. The way I'm going to describe this is all of the Democrats wanted them released and all of the Republicans voted them to not be released. But now there has been a couple of extra special elections. And I think, and I'm not political enough to necessarily be on top of that, but I think the Democrats have the vote to force the files to be released. So I think we're going to see some contention back and forth there, I think that's going to be coming up in October. Now, I don't know enough about Canadian politics to know, but every country, every industrialized country nowadays has their own sex scandals. This person's having an affair with the prime minister's wife, and this person's, secretly in love with the secretary of such and such. Every administration all over the country has the little, we don't talk about that stuff.
Sex sells.
So
of course, I really I have so turned off the TV and turned off the radio, and even I just got a cute little Z4 that's a 2010, and so I can't hook up my phone to have my playlist play through it, so I'm stuck listening to the radio, and it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna drive insane. But I found a station that plays like Beethoven and stuff. So I'm driving down the road listening to Beethoven instead of, I have no idea what's actually on the radio, because I hear the lyrics now, and I can feel the intention behind the song, and I can feel the predictive programming in it. And it's like, oh no, you're not getting inside my head. So anyways, yeah, I've turned that on. I've really protected myself against the programming, I guess, of this world. So I really have no idea what's happening in our politics. There could be a sex scandal in my own city with my own mayor, and I don't have any idea because I haven't turned that reality on. It's no longer a part of my reality. Therefore, I don't spend any time feeding into it anymore, right? And I think that really is very important, that we turn the AI off. Like, I've noticed that a lot more people are getting addicted to 100%. AI. And so, okay, monthly prediction, because AI is accelerating at such a rate that I'm noticing it as the months go by, not years, as the months go by, how many people are getting addicted to this chat GPT, and they are using it for absolutely everything. I'm hearing it from everyone, whereas a couple months ago, it wasn't like, okay, it wasn't too many people talking about it, too many people using it. Now I'm hearing that it's every second person or more that's using it. And I just think it's programming. And again, yes, it can be used as a tool to help, but I want people to get back to their own critical thinking because they're also using it as a spiritual tool where AI is talking to them through the Akashic
Oh my
Records.
God.
Oh, it's a
I've had
ghost
two
talking to them,
clients
and I'm
tell
like,
me they
oh
think
my
they're
God,
chat GBTs, their spirit guide.
it's
I agree with you
insane.
100%. It could be so dangerous.
It's so dangerous because here's the thing. I this isn't a monthly prediction. This is a few years down the road, probably in our lifetime, but that is the beast. AI is the beast that we will eventually be all hooked up to. That if we don't have that digital
Yep.
footprint with our microchip in it that houses all of our information, we will be excluded from society. That's biblical and it's trippy to literally watch it play out. Did you know that as of September, in the UK, Aldi's is like their superstores or their Walmarts. Think
We
of
have all these here. So yeah.
you have Aldi's in the States?
Yep.
No
Yeah.
way. Oh, we don't have Aldi's.
We have it down the street.
It's crazy. Well, all of their Aldi's in the UK, you have to now have ID, digital ID, in order to get in. Oh, yeah, to just get in, to buy cheese, to buy groceries. You have to have ID to get in. You have to download their government ID thing. And it's just like, whoa, we are so 10 steps closer, and it's crazy how that timeline is speeding up. And I don't know if there's anything that we can do to stop it. It feels like a train wreck,
For the people who are
on fire
choosing,
going down the road.
like maybe you or I, might choose to not have our little chip implanted or all this ID, we will still be able to live, but our life will be a little bit more complicated, a little bit slower, a little
Oh,
bit more
I think
stressful. We may
I
have to go around a few things to
maybe
get
at
to the same
first,
place.
yeah, maybe at first. Think of what they did. Actually, it wasn't so bad in the States as it was up in Canada. You weren't allowed to go in anywhere without your Vax pass.
I remember you
Yeah,
telling us
we
that,
weren't allowed to
and it was
go
not
into
that bad here. It was not that bad.
bad. So where is it coming in, right?
Where's that
They'll test
line?
it in the UK, they'll test it, I think, in New Zealand and Australia, and then it will eventually trickle to the other countries. But it's just, anyways, back to the monthly thing. I think that there's going to be an explosion of that, and I do feel that there's going to be next step versions of this that's going to be unveiled over before the end of the year that will blow our minds. That will blow our minds when you go to use it. So I don't really know what I'm picking up on, but apparently there's going to be a couple more versions or updates
October,
that are going to
November,
be even more.
December. They feel very explosive to me, and that's the word that I would use.
It
It
feels
just,
very technological to me. Like when I'm tuning into November and December, it feels like there's going to be even more technology unveiled. Like it feels the energy of going into 2026 feels very AI. Like look what we've created now. Like there's going to be a bunch of unveiling of things where it's like, whoa. Like it's just moving so fast that it's not, oh, look what we created this year. It's look what we created this month or today.
I'm going to say, I think of my sister who, we talked about how I struggle with technology. I'm like the least technologically aware person imaginable. But my sister is far worse. She makes me look like Jeff Bezos or something. So she has a flip phone. Like that's
Oh
how
my. Wow.
untechnology
Yeah.
oriented she is. And so I see her getting more and more frustrated because the technology is moving forward faster than she's willing to keep up with.
Mhm.
On the other hand, who's to say that going back to flip phones might not be a good idea? So for each one of us, we have to find that point. What is okay? Where do we draw the line? And that's going to be very individual.
Yeah.
Other people may be thrilled about, oh, let me get that chip. It'll save me so much time. They may be excited about it. Patricia and I might be like, oh, hell no. So each one of us will make our own decisions about that. I will say October, November, December feel volatile to me. They feel unstable, uncertain to me. So they don't feel calm. Astrological, I don't see big stuff going on. But I will also say on the 14th of October, Pluto is going to turn direct, where it has been in retrograde motion for months. And when I say retrograde, it just means that the planet looks like it's going backwards, retrograde, instead of forwards, direct. So it doesn't actually do that. But from the point of view of Earth, it looks like that. So on the 14th of October, that Pluto, that big, intense powerhouse of energy, wakes up and starts moving forward again. It happens to be in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius rules technology. So I thought about that when you were talking about technology. So yes, we may see more things unveiled. We may see more technological advances.
Yeah.
But it comes back to that question of just because we can do it, should we do it?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, for every technological advance that may help a patient's health or extend a life, there could be a use for it that is not quite as highbrow, shall we say. Now, right at the beginning, the first week of October, of course, we have that full moon. I think it's on the 6th or the 7th. I think it's on the 6th. And that full moon is going to be in Aries. So we have the moon in Aries versus the sun in Libra fighting each other. And so Aries, again, forceful, dynamic, angry, volatile. You know, I want to be heard. I want to take action. So for people who are caught up in the mind or maybe a little more wishy-washy, I'm a big procrastinator, so I'm really looking forward to this to kind of give me a shove to get me moving to do something. But if you're like me and a big procrastinator, it can be used to have you take action because Aries is very individual. It's about me. But Libra is all about us. So this can be a time when we're asked to balance our individual needs against our family's needs, against our spouse's needs. Where is it about us and where is it about me? Where am I being selfish? Where am I standing up for myself? So those are issues we're going to look at.
Could it also be you, like me against us, or you against us with that planet of war?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it can be used that way. Because everybody who has a belief believes we're right, you know, or we wouldn't have it. We believe we're right. And so when yeah, and like you and I, we've been studying spiritual development and our intuitive gifts for years, for decades. And so it's like, we know what we know.
Yeah.
And so sometimes without realizing it, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody, we sort of shut out those other beliefs. You know, we don't always stop and look at them. So yes, Aries versus Libra can be one against the other.
So
You're
then
wrong because I decided I'm right.
people need to watch for that and not feed into that energy if it shows up, because again, how this applies to everyone, people can say, well, it's generalized. Yeah, it is, but it'll meet you where you're at, right? So if you are in a situation where there's a family gathering and there's the political argument, or the you against me, and or me against us, all of that energy, that's where you go, haha, saw this coming. Patricia and Susan mentioned that. I'm not feeding into that energy. Not today, Satan. And hightail it out of there. That's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Don't feed in to the individualized war, because it just, if you see it coming, you know that it's part of the program. Step out of the matrix, step out of that. You create different timelines by making better choices, right? And that's where, again, prayer, meditation, it puts you into the right vibration, in to hear the answers that you need to hear in order to make informed, better decisions. That's the benefit of being in alignment with Christ consciousness, with that higher mind, whatever you want to call it. When you know, you know, and then you don't step into stuff like that. So that's how it could manifest anyways. That's what's coming to me as you're describing those days, is like, oh, I bet you anything that's what's going to happen. And the thing is that a couple things. There's an energy to fall, and the time that we're in right now, where it actually is a great time to cocoon, to go within. It's fall, the cozy sweaters, the pumpkin spice lattes, it's time for that cozy wozy again. Now, time, reading a book in front of the fireplace, getting back into you instead of, it's summer, I'm living outside. It is time to clean out our closets to, and to prepare the home for the holidays, because before we know it, it's going to be Halloween and then Christmas, and it's all coming up so fast. New Year's, all of it. So it's a time to go within and prepare. That actually is the right energy to do deep healing, right? Believe it or not, in the summer, it's where sunshine. It's you want to raise your joy. You want to feel extended and out. That's what you want to do in the summer with the sun, right? But in the winter, you want to cocoon. It's natural. It's the natural rhythm that we have, or that I've noticed within people. But we want to cocoon in the winter. And so when you cocoon, you get a chance to do deep healing. But when you're in the summer or the sun, think of it as expansion, a time to expand. So we actually are going in over the next few months to do deep, deep healing. And things can get touchy because deep healing brings up deep emotions and ouchies that you haven't explored in a long time. So make sure that you're not exploding on anybody. Or, when it rises to the surface, you can look at it objectively and understand that everything is here to teach you something, right? This is how we learn. This is how we grow as a soul. So I just thought I would mention that. That's what came to me when I thought, oh yeah, fall. I forgot to mention that.
Now, I will say the last week of October, we have something I consider to be a really nice astrological event happening, because we have Jupiter in Cancer, which is a water sign, and we have Saturn in Pisces, which is another water sign. And all the signs that share the same element tend to get along, like they're simpatico. So that last week, we have Jupiter and Saturn holding hands, going, singing Kumbaya, and all the rest of it. Finally, they're in harmony and working together. Yeah. So that by itself is very nice. But we also have Mars in the third water sign of Scorpio, which forms a triangle. And in astrology, this is called a grand trine. You have not one, not two, but three planets all working together, all joining hands and saying, let's support each other. So there is a ton of very positive water energy coming out. Now, water energy is always about emotions. That's what it's about, what we have just talked about. But water energy is also very intuitive, very empathic. It is at this time that you may find yourself trusting your inner voice more. You may find yourself receiving messages from your guides, like, oh, this is what that feels like. This is what Patricia and Susan were talking about. Okay, I got it. You may have precognitive dreams that give you answers to your questions. You may find yourself talking about your feelings more, because all this energy about emotion and feelings, you may just find yourself sharing, well, I've been a little down in the dumps lately. It just comes out in a very nice way to somebody who could support you. You may find yourself having other people sort of share their problems with you. Empathic people, I don't think they realize this, they send out a vibe that other people in the general population pick up on immediately, and they are drawn to you. So if you are watching this podcast, chances are you have had this happen, where you were sitting there quietly minding your own business, and a stranger comes over and dumps their life story on you. Yeah. That's because they are sensing that vibration. It is a vibration of feelings, of compassion, of intuitive development. And it has nothing to do with age. So this may happen when you're 12 years old, or when you're 82 or 92 or whatever it is. So yes, so look for that. So if you have a parent, my mother was very stoic. You just couldn't get her to open up about stuff. She was like that picture, American Gothic, just like standing there. She's not going to share. Her heart's not worn on her sleeve. But when an energy like this comes in, this can be a good time to talk to relatives about, well, what was your experience like this? Or tell me about my ancestors. Or what was your experience like growing up? Because I was born in the 50s.
Wow.
When I was born, Eisenhower was president. Look at what our world has gone through since then. So this is a nice time to talk to family, elicit from them, share your feelings and emotions. It doesn't mean they have to be the same.
Mhm.
My sister and I talk about we grew up in the same household, same parents, same city, same apartment, and we have completely different experiences of how we see our childhood. And
Yeah.
that's a nice thing. Oh, what? You didn't like that? I thought it was great. So we can open up to other people
Yeah.
in a very kind, very loving, very compassionate way.
Mhm.
Look this up, Google this. This can be a real blessing
Mhm.
in your life to feel solid and safe on the emotional level, to feel grounded. But you may also feel a tsunami of emotion coming at you. You want to make sure you can handle this. You
Mhm.
don't want to burst into tears because they forget to ask if you want fries with that. You want to be able
Yeah.
to be solid, to be centered, and you own the emotion coming in, not the other way around. I look at this as positive, but it doesn't mean it's not a big energy. It is a big energy, but I like it and I'm excited about it. And I'm scheduling special meditations for the last week in October. Like I may do some precognitive work and some special precognitive meditations to see what's coming up. And I would schedule them for that week because that's when you want to go in, when you have all this energy helping you.
Good idea. Good idea. Good idea. Well, I have my psychic awareness retreat happening on the first week of October, so I cannot not wait to get out there. And apparently, there's been UFO sightings all over Sedona lately. And where we are, we're right in the heart of the vortex, right at the base of Cathedral Rock. So you never know, because a couple of the sightings were literally like 2 minutes from where our retreat center is. So who knows? But I thank you so, so much for your wisdom and for sharing your gifts and abilities with all of us on YouTube and being able to explain to me, because, like I said, I don't understand a lick of astrology, but it's really cool when we come together and we can make sense of what it is that we're feeling and seeing and see how it lines up together. Um, because, yeah, I think it's important to get this information out there so people aren't freaking out when the tides turn and the energies come in. They see it coming. So thank you, Susan, so much for your wisdom and sharing this time with us. And thank you, everybody, for sticking with us and watching all the way to the end. Susan, how can everybody get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on my website, www.exploreastrology.com. Through there, you can sign up for my free newsletter. Every month, I send out a free newsletter about what the new moon is doing, what the full moon is doing, and how you can use that. And every day on Facebook, Explore Astrology with Susan Reynolds, or my Susan Reynolds page, I post what the moon is doing today and how you can use that and what to be aware of. So lots of ways. In October, I'm thinking about doing something I call Fun Fridays,
Hmm.
where every Friday from 6 to 7, 1 hour, I do a talk on a different topic. And I call it Fun Fridays because you get to kick back with a glass of wine and I do all the heavy lifting. So,
Nice.
and I pick all different kinds of topics and I'm looking at topics to pick for next month. And we'll just have some fun and enjoy chit-chatting about different things.
Oh, sweet. Maybe I'll see you in there. The
All
Fun
right. And
Friday.
you've got your retreat coming up. So we're both busy, a lot going on.
Yeah, but I'd love to join you sometime. I love talking about all this stuff. And for anybody who wants to get in touch with me, book an appointment, come in for meditation, I also teach them online. My website is www.patriciamona.com. And I also have a newsletter. It's neat that we both do. I send mine out once a month on the first at 11:11. I'm all about the ones. So if you feel called to my guidance, definitely sign up through my website. But thanks again, Susan, and everybody watching all the way to the end. God bless, and we will see you next month. Take care.
See you next month. Bye.